Okay. Almost there, y'all. Good morning. There we go. Quick little delay. There we could. All right. Morning, everybody. I'm your instructor, Pierre Huey, aka Mr. P. The P is for patience. All right. Today is Thursday. Today is Implements, Tools, and Equipment Day. 10% of your domains. If you don't know who I am a barber of almost 30 years. I am an instructor of almost 10 years. They're about to coincide a few more months. And today we are doing implements, tools, and equipment. We correspond the domains to the days of the week, Monday through Thursday. All right, this particular day falls under the last one, the least percentage of what they're looking for per the CIB. What does the CIB stand for? Candidate Information Bulletin. All right. For those that do know who I am, welcome. Thank you for joining the live. Thank you for joining the live, all my Facebookers, YouTubers, Instagrammers, TikTokers, all that good stuff. If you want to see the screen that I'm sharing where I'll talk about the CIB and you get to see in real time what we're talking about and what we're studying from this book, be sure to follow my other social media platforms, my Facebook, my Instagram, my YouTube. They are all at Pierre Huey. Pierrehouey. That's for all my TikTokers. Welcome all my TikTokers. How y'all doing? Thank you for joining the live. Thank you for following me. Thank you for the likes, all that good stuff. All right. So implements, tools, and equipment, 10%. The thing about this section, the thing about this domain is very easy, but with it being very easy to get the concepts, it's very easy to mess up too. Because what a lot of students do when they take their Barber Theory exam, they don't read the whole question. So they will miss a question that they know the answer to, they 100% know the answer to, and they know the concept and they know the principle, but they won't read the whole question because they consider it a gimme. I'm gonna give you a word of advice. Read every single question when you are taking the Barber Theory exam. Read every single question because they may ask the question in a way to trip you up. They want you to do things like that. For instance, you have equipment, you have implements. Let me make this bigger. Okay, so you only got 2 points of reference here. A, identify function, purpose, and care of tools used in hair services, right? You got equipment, you got implements, you got supplies and materials, you got electrical tools, right? And then B, understand and apply safety and sanitation practices for use of implements and equipment. All right. It's not hard to do, right? Small order, as we like to say. Not hard to do. But here's the thing. Do you know the difference between equipment, implements, and tools? Right? Equipment is things that are going to stay in your shop, as in your barber chair. You're not, after you finish barbering services, you're not going to pick the chair up and load it on the truck and then drive home and then bring it back the next day, right? Your station, you're not going to take your station off the wall, put it in the truck, take it home, and then bring it back the next day. That's equipment, right? Implements, razors, shears, combs, brushes, electrical tools, clippers, blow dryers. Do you know the difference between implements and tools? So if not, implements are things that do not have like a motor or any electrical type of plug or plug or cord or anything like that. Electrical tools do. Electrical tools are like your clippers and your blow dryers, your curlers that you plug into the wall. Implements are like your razors, your shears, your combs and brushes, or like your Marcel irons. The Marcel irons themselves technically are an implement because they don't have a motor, right? They don't plug into the wall and things like that. So they may ask you that exact question on the exam, on the Barber Theory exam. They may say, what's the difference between a tool and an implement? Now, we know technically you should already know that. But these are one of the questions where people will mess up because they read the question too fast and they answer too fast. And then they don't check over that one because it's like, oh yeah, that's a gimme question. Well, one thing that I've seen from a lot of score reports and dealing with a lot of students that have taken this test that have failed and then end up passing, I'll ask them, okay, what was the difference? And a lot of times the difference was, it wasn't the questions that they were unsure about. It was more of the questions that they thought they had and they missed because they went over it too fast. Believe it or not. I had a student. We did what we call a brute force attack. And what that means is, if you go on Monday and you fail, we sign up for Tuesday. If he failed on Tuesday, we going on Wednesday. We going back, we studying after every failure, quote unquote, we studying. That's how we was doing that. I told him just save up a certain amount of money for us to do it, and we just gonna do it that way, right? It took him 3 days, but consider that, right? So he went on Monday, he failed. And I said, okay, well, let's go over some questions. And we went over the questions. He thought it was the things that he was unsure about. He thought it was more scientific concept type things. And come to find out, it was more Haircare type stuff, because he went back on Tuesday, he fell again. He was very frustrated, very upset. And he was like, man, I ain't in the mood to study and all that stuff. I don't give a damn. We studying. So bring your ass. So we studied that day, looked over some things. And I said, look, let's just look over everything. Let's start with the things that you do know. Well, it turns out we going over simple things like implements, tools, and equipment. And he was like, oh man, I got that wrong. And I got that wrong. And I got that wrong. And I got that wrong. He was like, dude, I was missing more of the questions that I thought I had. And I said, okay, well, what is it that's different now that you know that? And he was like, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the rest of the day. I'm not even going to worry about the stuff I was unsure about. I'm going to worry about all the stuff that I thought I was sure about. Well, guess what happened on Wednesday? Went and passed that thing with flying colors. And it gave me the idea of, all right, well, let me see about that with some of my other students. So that's how I started doing my studying. I would say, okay, well, let's focus in on the things that you know or that you think you know, and let's see where we go from there. Okay. Sneedy baby, how you doing? Good morning. Special lady, good morning. Libra, good morning. User 7344 ... Good morning. Thank you for joining the live. All right. So today, what we're going to talk about is equipment. We'll talk a little bit about the chair and the workstation, right? Because again, I do my public study according to the CIB. It gives me a better point of reference for studying, and it gives me a purpose in studying versus just looking through the book chronologically from page 1 to page, what is it in this book? 827, just going straight through. It's not really effective as a study method. Okay. All right. So here's what we're going to talk about. Equipment. In addition to your tools and implements, you will need certain equipment and supplies to perform barbering services. Review the following descriptions to become familiar with some common items used in the barbershop. Let's start with the barber chair. All right. The barber chair is an essential piece of equipment for performing barbering services. Should not be confused with a styling chair. You should know the difference. That could be a question. I think that's like a medium percentage question. It's like 50-50 that they might ask you the difference between a barbering and a styling chair. Or they might ask you a question in a way where you have to deduce the correct answer by knowing the difference between a barbering and a styling chair. Okay. Tasha, good morning. Fit Barber, good morning. All right. Styling chairs, typically smaller in design and do not usually have a headrest. Conversely, barber chairs are larger in size. They have a headrest. They are either removable or built in as far as the headrest, and are designed to enable clients to fully recline when receiving shaving and facial services. Barber chairs are available with either hydraulic or motorized bases. Both types provide easy height adjustment of the chair. The circumference of the base should be large and heavy enough to accommodate a man's weight without tipping when the customer is in a fully reclined position. Okay, so big thing about that, I think they have like I want to say 22-inch diameters and 27-inch, if I'm not mistaken. And then when you start customizing the chairs, you're customizing the base, like your the amount of money that the chair costs a lot of times refers to the strength of the hydraulics and the circumference of the base. So the bigger the circumference of the base, the more sturdy it is, the more weight it can handle, things like that. And I tend to have this problem every time I get a new barber chair. The first day, first week, first month of me having that damn barber chair, here comes somebody that's 400 damn pounds, 6'5", gonna break my damn chair, or they gonna bend it a little bit. That's the one thing they don't really talk about in this chapter about equipment. It's almost like you got to have that bigger base, whatever size base that you need. And if you there are some companies out here that customize chairs. Some of them can customize you a bigger base. It's going to cost you more, but trust me, in the end, it's worth it. So you have to think about what kind of client base you got. Do you have bigger guys that come in and get the haircut? I got about a few. They are big, these guys. And when you're doing shaving services and you recline them, you need to have that bigger base. You need to have that sturdy hydraulic system to be able to handle all of that weight. Because if not, you will bend the base and now your chair wobbly. That's really the thing behind wobbly chairs. It's not that the chair is any problem, anything like that. But what you're going to need, though, is you're going to need a proper base. And that's why you'll see just the base itself might be $200. And you say, well, damn, by the time I do that, I can get a stylish chair for $200. But that's another story for another day. All right. Two main types of drapes and capes. Technically, drapes and capes, I would look at that more as supplies and materials. But in the book, they put it under the equipment chapter. So let's go by the book and let's go by what the CIB is looking for. Okay. Two main types of drapes used are shampoo capes, haircutting capes. Shampoo capes, typically waterproof drapes made of vinyl, used to protect the client's skin and clothing from water, liquids, and chemical processes. Haircutting capes are made of nylon or other synthetic materials. These draping fabrics are usually more comfortable for the client because they do not hold in as much body heat as vinyl capes. All right. I have seen them have questions that simple about shampoo capes and haircutting capes and knowing the difference. Like I said, you gotta be careful. They'll ask the question in a certain way. So it behooves you to read the question all the way through, read the question thoroughly, and then decide on your answer. Okay. Even if it's a give me question, it should be common sense. If they say, okay, which cape is waterproof and protects their clients from water and liquid substances, we know that's a shampoo cape, right? We know chemical services, you're going to need something that protects against that, right? Common sense will tell you that. But again, you got to read the question, because they may say it in a way that, oh, all of these are characteristics of a shampoo cape except what? And then if you didn't read it right, you're going to answer the one of the answers that goes with the shampoo cape. And guess what? Now you got the question wrong. And that question may be the deciding factor between you passing or failing. I've seen it. I'm telling you, I've seen people miss these questions. They miss 2 questions and fail. And then they want to quit barbering because they done missed it by 2 points, 4 points, 1 question, 2 questions, and want to give up. Okay. I'm not here for that. We gonna pass. Damn it. That just means you was that much more closer and you need to go back. Okay. All right. I wish they had something about stations in here, but they do not. Okay. But on the CIB, they do have workstations. So basically, I'll just give my experience about workstations, and you can take that and put it in your notes. All right. So the thing about workstations is this is where you put your clippers. You have to clean it off you know, start of the day, end of the day, that type of thing. Make sure all visible dirt, well, just make sure all elements, dirt, debris, hair, any of that stuff that gets on your station, that you clean it off. Good morning. Good morning. How y'all doing? Thank you for joining the live. Big Aries in the building. Big Aries energy. Um, yeah, so station is where all your equipment goes. Like I said, you know, just make sure you take care of it. Just make sure you clean it off, that type of thing. Another thing about your workstation, always barbicide jar, make sure your barbicide levels are where they need to be in case state board walks in. This is a very weird thing. I have seen instances and I've been in shops where the whole barbershop will be tore down, but they have that damn barbicide where it needs to be. They have the barbicide on the workstation. They have the barbicide jar on the workstation. State board don't cite them not one fine. And then on the flip side, I have seen barbershops that are clean, well kept, immaculate, but they got $100 fine because of them damn barbicide jars. Okay. So when we're talking about your workstation, have your barbicide jar there, have your barbicide jar, filled up, have your barbicide jar properly mixed with barbicide to water ratio. They still, I'm pretty sure they still got the barbicide jars that'll have the little level at the bottom of the jar, and it'll say fill it up the barbicide about this much, and then put the rest in water, you know, to the top of it. But typically, state board want to see more of a darker blue than a lighter blue with barbicide, but they definitely want to see that it's fresh. Like they'll, depending on this inspector, they might look at the bottom of the barbicide jar and be like, "Oh yeah, you need to change this." They can tell. They're very good at that. They're very good at that. So that goes with workstations. Trying to think of anything else with a workstation. Make sure you don't have like a electrical hazard type thing. Like, you know, just organize your plugs, right? Especially if you're like me, a lot of my clippers are still corded. I like corded clippers over cordless. But even the cordless have like charger stations and things like that you plug up. Just organize it, right? I'm not saying it's got to be the best in the world or anything like that, but just make sure it's organized. One of the things I like to do is just get one of the large power strips. It's not an electrical hazard. Like the power strips mitigates a lot of the electricity issues with clippers, especially if you got people that got clippers that are plugged in everywhere, and then they plug in the, what do you call it? They plug in different power strips and all this stuff all at one time, and it's just like, all right. And then you got your blow dryer. All of that stuff is crazy, right? Renegade says, let me put that comment on here. Hang on, y'all. Hang on. There we go. He says 2-ounce concentrate mixture to 32 ounces of water. I think that's about right. Basically, as long as it's a darker blue texture and you can put your combs in and everything like that, Renegades, without the water overflowing when you put the top back in. I mean, when you put the cap of it that holds the combs and all that stuff, when you put that back in there, as long as the water ain't overflowing and it's a darker blue. But yeah, I think that may be it. 2-ounce concentrate mixture, something like that, for sure. All right. Okay. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, that is my time. We are almost at 20 minutes. So if you or anybody that you know can use my services, everybody knows somebody that's in their barbering journey, whether they are starting barber school, whether they have been in barber school, they got the hours and about to take their tests, whether they've taken their tests and they failed a few times, failed one time, scared of failing, all that good stuff. I'm your guy. I can help you. All right. I look at this book every day. All my people can tell you, especially big Aries. Aries know I look at this damn book every day. I study this book all the time. I'm always at the shop. Somebody is always asking questions about all this good stuff. Somebody's always inquiring about joining the barber industry, all that stuff. I can really, really, really help with that because I know y'all ain't studying. I said it. I know y'all ain't studying. So just come study with me, right? I got you. And also, let me plug in my coach, my business coach, all of that good stuff at Mr. Will Roundtree and his REI 90 program, because our thing is, I don't want you in a position where you cut because you have to. I want you to be able to cut hair because you want to. How do you do that? By accumulating wealth and accumulating a system to get you out of the rat race. What is that system? It is called real estate investing. Okay. I'm a part of the group. I'm a part of REI 90. I'm going to pitch REI 90 to you guys every video because I'm getting closer and closer to my investments, getting me out of the industry and into a place where I can teach more, because that's what I want to do, is teach you guys and help you guys. So be on the lookout for that. My paid class, Past Barber Theory, is always available. You can find it wherever you can find me, which is at pierrehuey.com. I might do that. At Pierre Huey, PIERREHOUEY. And you can also find my coach, my business coach. Look him up. He's everywhere. Mr. Will Roundtree. You can find him on all platforms as Mr. Will Roundtree, ROUNDTREE. Okay. All right. Trying to think if there was anything else for today. Nah, I think that's it for today. You guys enjoy y'all Thursday. I'm definitely going to enjoy mine because it's like 6 banging movies in the movie theaters. Be looking out for that too. I love doing content on movies and TV shows and all that stuff. All right. That being said, I'm your instructor, Pierre Huey, aka Mr. P. The P is for patience. You guys have a wonderful Thursday. Peace.